All right, welcome back, everybody. John Crable here from My Small Business Blueprint, working with Andrew Clark from O'Reilly Law Offices in this legal series that we're trying to get a lot of good information out there for small business owners. One of the things that I'm most interested in is everything is online now, right? But if you're asking my personal preference, I don't want to go to LegalZoom when I'm starting a business because I want to talk to somebody that I can work through the options that might exist for myself, my family, my business.
Right.
So if I am coming to Andrew Clark or I'm looking to hire a lawyer, what is that process look like? What are the things that we're going to discuss? What are the documents I need to be worried about?
Well, it's funny that you bring up LegalZoom because they'll be the first ones to tell you in at least 5 different places on the website that they don't give you any legal advice, any tax advice. There's no advice at all. What they're doing is allowing you to set up an LLC or a corporation, whatever it is that you want to set up. So if you're thinking about going that route, you may want to just go to the Ohio Secretary of State website and see how easy they make it for you to do that exact same thing.
Okay.
But as far as people coming in to speak with an attorney, I mean, the main reason that I like to meet with clients before they set it up is a lot of times we get people coming in, setting up a 2 or a 3 or 4 member LLC. They're going into business with friends. They're going into business with family members. Even more scary is they're going into business with family members of their spouse. And all of those things create interesting dynamics that can be worked through at the front end. If you're planning for a successful business with the eye towards this may dissolve one day. And so the more proactive you can be at formation, when everybody's excited about this business, everybody is ready to make their millions, and everything is good, to plan for what happens if this fails. What happens if the idea we have is already out there and we can't pursue it?
Is that a common theme that you see with a lot of small business owners?
As far as
not looking towards the future and saying everything's just going to work out okay?
It is if you don't have an operating agreement, then that tells me that you think there's no way this is going to fail, because
which we know isn't the case.
Right. There's what is it? 1 out of every 5 or 6 small businesses is actually going to have a chance of making it.
Right.
So the operating agreement is what's going to allow you to sit down with the people that you're going into business with and determine conclusively, here are the ownership shares, here is what people are expected to do. If it doesn't work, here's how we're going to dissolve the business and how people are going to be made whole, if that's even possible. And so that planning on the front end is what's going to allow that business to dissolve if it needs to, without those relationships necessarily dissolving at the same time.
So is the dissolution part of the operating agreement, or what is the main focus of that operating agreement?
Yeah, so the revised code in Ohio deals with, there's an entire chapter on LLCs, and that deals with how every LLC in Ohio is going to operate unless their operating agreement says otherwise.
Okay.
And so the concept behind that is the state of Ohio knew that there would be people who just set them up and didn't formalize anything. And so there is a process for dissolving, there's a process for adding members, there's a process for doing all sorts of things that an LLC would need to do. But that revised code chapter is fairly generic. It's going to deal with businesses that have 1 or 2 members all the way up to tens, hundreds of members. It's going to deal with people who are holding real estate, to people who are manufacturing things, to people who are baking cookies. They're going to be doing everything, and so it's the more generic the section is, the less helpful it's going to be in the event that things do get sideways. So we see people coming in fairly regularly who just want to get their business formed, and that's fine, and we're happy to do that, especially if it's a single member LLC. Sometimes you can formalize things later, but what we've found is once your business gets going and you start making money and you start doing what it is that makes you money, the last thing you want to do is take time away from making money to go pay an attorney to formalize things.
I absolutely agree.
So it's a cart and horse type of scenario where you don't want to put the money in until you've got this race car, but unfortunately you can't buy the race car engine necessarily until you've got the money invested. So it's a difficult tightrope, for small business owners to walk, but it is very important that that you plan to be successful, and that you know how things are going to work out if you are wildly successful and if you're not.
That's good. So as I kind of wrap this video up, this vignette up, I'm just going to say, talk to a lawyer. Talk to a lawyer. There's so many ins and outs. There's so many generalities that you want to avoid. Go out there and talk to a lawyer. So Andrew, thank you again for helping us along this process. And if you have any questions, you can find Andrew at O'Reilly Law Offices. Andrew Clark.
Thank you. Good luck.